Going live. It says I am indeed live. So the most important thing there is, how's my volume level? Is it good? People hear me all right? God, every frickin' live stream starts the same way. Can you hear me? Is everyone here? Is this public? It's the same thing, no matter what size the channel, no matter who it is. It's always the same start. And Man Carrick did a skit about it. That was so spot on. Quoting everyone else who sees something relatable. I felt called out. The OG Daniel Green. You don't know if this is the original Daniel Green. I could have been killed by Green Daniel. Swapped. You don't know. You don't know. I figured we could just do a fun live stream where we talk about these shows, get a nice little peaceful discourse, sorry. Get a Discord going. We're gonna start a Discord channel. Kayla's right here to my left, so original Goblin Daniel Green. Ryan, how's school go, bud? Are you still in school? It's been a long time, but I figured we could give it a nice little chit chat. I'm gonna put you all over here. I hope it doesn't look too weird that I'm doing that. I'm still looking at you. It's just a lot more comfortable for me if I look this way. So that's where I'm going to be looking. Kings and Generals, what's up? They made some hobbits black. Are we going to die? According to the way some people are commenting, you'd think that. I saw on Twitter you're actually enjoying the show, though. Should we expect more Lord of the Rings content from your subsidiary channel? Because I loved the giant compilation you put together. That was so good. Let's see, Daniel, why mention the new dragon in the last episode review? Because I don't know anything about it. It just showed up in bird stuff, and I'm like, I'll learn about it and we'll go from there. Yay, I'm not too late. No, you're right on time. Rings of Power is really awful. I just don't understand how people can judge it that hard yet. It's still setting itself up. I'm not in love with it. Like it was pretty harsh in my review. I felt like I think I'm sitting at like it's fine so far. I really want to see it pick up in terms of like my investment for the emotions of the characters. Maybe here's the thing. I love visual effects, whether they're practical, CG, whatever. It's something I've been just obsessed with for a long time. So I feel like I'm enjoying just watching, like, as someone who used to work in computer engineering or software engineering, and has messed around with like some of the tools people use to make shows like these. I'm appreciating the hell out of what they're making, because you may not like the writing, but I can tell you from like a visual effects standpoint, the studios who put in the work for Rings of Power have earned their paycheck. Holy crap. Game of Thrones is so boring. Are you talking about House of the Dragon? If you're going to crap on a show, man, at least use the proper one. I saw Original Human here. Hey, what's up? On a scale Daniel Green Goblin to Peter Jackson Goblin, how much are you enjoying Rings of Power? That scale is so specific. I don't feel like I can throw a number out for Rings of Power yet. I made the mistake of throwing out numbers for like every episode of the Wheel of Time. And so people were like, well, you gave some episodes like 4s, you gave some episodes like 8s, and then everyone tried to like average that out to like find my full season score. The season score isn't just adding up the averages. It's how it all comes together on like different levels. So I don't want to do that anymore, because then you have people being like, you're being disingenuous because it should have been this because of math. My review process does not involve math. It involves me watching these shows and then vomiting words and having fun. And that's the point of it. That's kind of the whole reason we are here. Wait, what? Someone's saying they can't hear me? What's this? Give me 1 second. I really wish I could simul broadcast this stuff on Twitch, but I don't even know if that's allowed anymore because of all the I can't stream gaming on YouTube crap, because competition. Okay, we're all good here. I think videos live. No, we're fine. All right, cool. Sorry about that. Someone lied to me. Let's see. Who do you think would win in a fight? Daniel Green, Green Daniel, or Donald Green? Kayla. Kayla would win in that fight, is all I was. Let's see. Let's see. After watching the show, I honestly really enjoy it. It's not perfect, but the writing is strong, and the creators genuinely seem to love the source material. I can't tell if you're talking about Rings of Power or House of the Dragon. It would be helpful if you all would dictate which one. But I assume from the context of what we were just saying, that's Rings of Power. I don't think they have a love of the source material. That's actually one of my biggest criticisms. And I know it's like what I said about The Shining. Rings of Power, I'm having to just acknowledge, is going to be a bad adaptation while possibly still being a good show. It's like The Shining. The Shining was a great movie. It's a terrible adaptation. Do you think Malazan would be a good adaptation? Only if you did animated. I don't think you could possibly do it in live action. And it's also because of how much you'd have to change traditional television structure, things like that. People tend to be more forgiving with animation. If you tried to launch like Malazan on HBO Max, I have no idea how that could take off and find an audience. Like, it would struggle so hard. Let's see. I really enjoyed the soundtrack of Rings of Power. Yeah, me too. I mean, I don't envy anyone who has to work on the story aside, the technical elements of Rings of Power. The bar is so ludicrously high for Lord of the Rings adaptations that it feels like the people on that side of the production really brought their A game, and I appreciate it because, yeah, as I said, the visual effects are, especially the practical ones, the sets, the costuming. Oh my god, I love it. Please do a live chat about Berserk. I would, but I'm terrified of spoilers. I think quite a few people would be taking advantage to spoil things for me whenever they could. There are people, there be people who just like get off on doing that, and so I have to try to avoid that. Takeaway, yeah, Rings of Power is very nice looking. All right, and that comes down to like your individual weighting of a show. As someone who like, God, my dad and brother, ever since we were little kids, we would chat about and talk about creature design for things like Predator. The Thing has always been the one I talk about the most. I think it's just perfect practical effects, and I don't think it's been done better. It's the best monster ever crafted. And so like when I see people are continuing that artistry, regardless of the project, I take a good moment to appreciate it. I've been trying to get Kayla to watch The Thing. I think I finally got her to say she would.
Yeah, no, I definitely will.
Yeah, so we'll watch The Thing together. I recently watched an interview with George R. R. Martin, and he mentioned how difficult it is to get creative control of adaptation. Do you think Brando Sando will get creative control? I think it would be crazy for him not to, because he is coming into this with more leverage than just about any author is coming in for their adaptations. So I think he, if anyone can, it's going to be him. I don't know for sure. I know even Stephen King sometimes struggles for that. So, you know, it's not guaranteed, but it seems like he's got the best shot. Also, that orc was terrifying. I've been saying I want orcs to be horror monsters. And so, yeah, I genuinely enjoyed that. You and Kayla should read and review the books of Middle Earth together. We have been doing some joint reviews. I don't. We haven't done a.
We didn't do one for Rings of Power yet, but we've done a couple joint reviews on some things.
Yeah, we have, and a book one. I might let her just do a full on. You say you don't want to be on camera, right?
Oh, I don't care. Hi everyone. I didn't want to be a bother.
She was reading Dresden. I think she may have dropped it, but she wanted to do a full on Dresden review for everybody.
I didn't drop it.
You haven't? When was last time you read it?
I've been line editing his book. That's why it's taking so long.
She's been doing line edits for me, which I appreciate a lot. I was so nervous about the line edits for my upcoming book that I had her do it before I then handed it off to the official editors, because I was like, I need someone to take a look at this before I hand this off to an editor. It's terrifying me. So what's better, Rings of Power or Wheel of Time? I would say Rings of Power is having a stronger start, though it's not the strongest start. I think it's fine. Which, again, because I think it's fine, people are going to be like, well, you think it's great? No. And people are thinking, oh, you think it's terrible? No. Middle ground exists. I don't know how else to yell that at people more. And it's still in the setup stages. I can't, okay, this is exactly the proper comparison. People are doing what I did to Berserk, right? Before I got into this read through, when I read the first volume of Berserk, and I went, that was terrible. And I dropped the series for a long time and didn't touch it again. I am seeing people do that to the first 2 episodes of Rings of Power and being like, it's 2 episodes in, it's terrible, I hate it. No way this could pay off any way that's good. And if there's stuff that you genuinely hate to that extreme, like I still don't love everything about the first couple volumes of Berserk, but it seems like you're writing off a whole lot based off a little. And I think a lot of those people just have other agendas and want to be mad at it. And I'm actually in a position where I should be mad at Amazon, where I should have an agenda against this show. But I'm still telling you, it's still in setup. I'm not going to be confidently saying it's terrible yet. That's all. I don't know. That's my whole thing on that. Oh, we got super chat. Thank you so much, Sherlock Holmboy. That's a great name. Neil Gaiman talked about how hard it was for authors to be given control of adaptations till very recently. Glad to see those changing. I think it is, but it's also like Neil Gaiman is like a king. He's like a Sanderson. He's like he's someone who can just, I'm going to get control. I think it's still going to be difficult for other authors getting adaptations. None of this is confirmed, but I've heard it's some rumblings and things that's possibly why Dresden adaptations have taken so long. Rights issues and creative control issues. Let's see. Still waiting for a Pips shot. I have no idea where Pips is. Red Team Review. It is middle ground. Thank you. I'm surprised you didn't get dislike bombed like the rest of us. But still, I have like my Rings of Power review is like one of the lowest dislike ratios I've ever had, and I just kind of like shrug at that. I'm like, whatever. And I didn't love it. Like, it's crazy to me that in today's day and age of review, I can come out and be like, this is fine so far. I'm not really sure how I feel, and you get like people frothing at the mouth and are like, I'll murder you. My God. It's an 8-hour movie and the first 2 episodes feel like a prologue. That's one of my complaints though. Like, they should have deeper hooks in me than they have at this point. No hot, sexy Gandalf in the first episode. No watch. That's a genuine complaint. Give me sexy Gandalf. Not really. I don't want Gandalf in Rings of Power at all. I will have complaints if Gandalf shows up. We're talking full spoilers, by the way, warning here. I should have put that in the title, but I assume, if we're saying show discussion, you guys should be, full spoilers up to the latest releases. If the stranger person turns out to be like a major character who shouldn't be here for like a full age and they're just dropping him in on a meteor, I'm going to be mad.
I think they'd be wasting an opportunity too. Like, there's so much material you could use for the Blue Wizards who like don't have almost any lore written about them. Like, Amazon would be free to go at that without having to worry too much about rights issues, as long as they avoided, certain pieces, I'm guessing, but also the comparison. They'd avoid comparing it to Sir Ian McKellen's performance.
But there's also, do they have the rights to the Blue Wizards? I actually don't know.
I don't know. Again, that's all Silmarillion related. So they're doing a lot of homages to the Silmarillion to try to appease like the super hardcore fans.
Can you all hear her at all, or is it just completely like there's no voice and I'm staring to the side?
Just nothing. But I mean, they're trying to do the best they can since they can't specifically touch the Silmarillion due to rights issues. So, but there are a lot of scenes that are reminiscent of certain events that have happened throughout the Second Age. So, I mean, I respect them trying to work around those loopholes and get as much of an image and reference to that as they can.
I think you're a bit more positive on Rings of Power than I am. You've told me you really have enjoyed those episodes. I think it's fine.
I wouldn't see. This is the thing: is like if we critique at all too much, I feel like people are like, "You guys hate it," and it's like, no, it's just we're allowed to make critiques too. I'd say I'm at like a 7, and I think you told me you were like a 6.5. 6.
I was trying not to give my audience a number because I know they'll latch onto that like a.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. I'm currently doing a voice recording, but no, but I'd say like for me, I that's my starting point, and I feel like we have to give it a little more time. But I will say, if they keep setting things up with no sort of depth going forward, you're gonna lose me just because the story's kind of plotting.
I think that's where even the most positive people I've seen on it are at. They're like, "Great, I've given you a lot of setup leeway." But you better deliver this next one.
Go.
Yeah, it's like we need to go.
Let's gas pedal down.
Yeah, a couple more super chats. Thank you so much. Sending thanks for work. And I got tons of dislikes my Rings of Power review even though I was pretty much gave it a mild positive with caveats. Yeah, it's crazy to me. These people do not have shit to do with their lives. So why do you hate Amazon exactly? I'm lost. So I've had to talk with people about what I possibly could get in trouble with here with saying basically. I'm not going to label specific accusations. I was never offered money or anything along those lines. But if you look at what Tim publicly posted to his channel recently, where he was ghosted as soon as he said, like, but I'm not going to guarantee be positive. So they like just stopped reaching out to him because he's like, no, I'm going to be critical if I'm going to be critical. I got a little bit further where they hadn't ever asked me, like, you're going to be positive, right? But after things started to waver on my end and it became clear that I wasn't super hot, let's just say I got encouraged to be a team player and things along those lines. And when I made it clear that I wasn't going to put up with that kind of stuff, I did end up just getting ghosted. And all these accounts unfollowed me and stuff. And I was like, whatever. Like, I'm sorry that I have, like, it's insane to me that people would even, whatever. That's as detailed as I can get. I don't want to name names or anything like that. It is also very important to me that people know that was not the actual Wheel of Time production side of things. This was studio related and studio related only. That's all I'll say there, because I do not want to get in further trouble or get legal things. I've already had to talk with people in legal area. I know nothing about legal stuff, so I've had to talk with people who know about that stuff to make sure I can't get in trouble. But yeah, essentially, there is, I'm going to say this, Amazon has tried to kickstart itself a streaming service very quickly, and they are making mistakes that any streaming service with any kind of experience should not make while trying to put out some of the biggest projects of all time. And it's showing that they have that inexperience on the side of the projects you all are getting, which I think is why there's been some issues in some of their bigger projects in the actual production and in the way screeners, reviews, premieres are being held. Because I also have a lot of complaints with how the premiere in London went in terms of how media was treated, things along those lines, promises that were made to us that just were not followed through on. It's a whole ordeal. But again, that's not, my job is not to gossip about this stuff. I just, whenever it became a big enough issue where people were like, it became a big issue on my end. A couple more super chats. Thank you so much for the super chats, people. Oh God, I may have lost him. Which dragon in House of the Dragon is your favorite, and why is it? Oh God, names me. Caraxes, the red noodle of death. My favorite dragon is the one that Daemon rides, because that thing has the highest kill count. And for me, any dragon that's killed the most people, that's the best dragon. Is that? I don't know. I like
I'm
a good
Caraxes, and this is the kill count.
We watch a lot of Dead Meat. Yeah, like to me, it's about bodies. And if you're helping with the population control, that's my favorite danger noodle with wings.
Danger noodle.
Oh my God. All right. What do you think about re-adaptations and what creates a landscape for producers to want to give it another go? So re-adaptations, I think, are absolutely fine as long as the original adaptation is totally done hands off. Speaking of Wheel of Time, we had I think I agree with this comment from Corvin. House of the Dragons is great so far. I don't think a single episode has been below an 8. I really have been enjoying House of the Dragon. I have nitpicks, but all it is nitpicks. So like we saw recently for Wheel of Time, some other studio said they were going to also put out a show to do like a different age, almost like what's happening in the Rings of Power, but for Wheel of Time, and that was quickly squashed. It came out as a news and it was gone, and we have not heard a single update since. And I think it's because they did that whole press announcement so Amazon would swing around and buy rights or something we don't ever hear about on this end of thing. Purely conjecture on my part, no idea if that's true. I just know that we have not heard anything since it's first announced. And that's because it's really bad to have 2 adaptations going at once. I think anyone will tell you that. I have no problem with readapting material as long as you go back through and wait for anything that's touching what you're doing to be done and over. And the reason I add that clarification is like Stephen King's series is technically all connected, but not a lot of it touches itself or touches each other. Phrasing. And so for me, it's like, yes, as like, I wouldn't mind Rings of Power coming out the same time we were getting a Hobbit movie, but I would really not want a Hobbit TV show and a Hobbit movie. Does that make sense? Let's see. People are so entrenched in is bad versus is good nowadays that saying is mid is having both sides get mad at you. Essentially, yes. Because it's equal the other end too. Like I get people who are like, you're not positive enough. And I'm like, you can't control my feelings, Dad. No. Do we know if Mistborn adaptation will be a show or a movie? I only know what Sanderson said in that brief podcast thing. Let's see. The right situation is interesting as the investor group has bought a lot of game studios too in a couple of years. They are at least top 5 game companies combined revenue. Wait, what? Oh, there's a whole other conversation I'm missing right now. I have no idea what that was in reference to. Let's see. Thank you. Oh, another super chat. Thank you. Had a birthday recently. Got some new books. Oh, congratulations. I got Lightbringer and Greenbone Saga. 4 books into Lightbringer and loving it. I didn't love the ending, but I do like that series as a whole. Looking forward to Greenburn. Thanks for making me aware of them. I'm glad. Really glad. Let me know what you think of the ending. I'll give you and you alone permission to use my business email to email me your thoughts on the ending of the series when you get there. Can we? This is going to be a really harsh left turn, and this is I think a lot of people actually agree with my rating of Rings of Power 6, so that's actually kind of making me happy. 5 to 6, 6. Okay, 5, 5, 6. Cool. Anyone excited? Yes. I didn't read that. Finished reading out loud. I'm in the show. What? Are you a background character or something? That'd be great. Rings of Power was twice as good as expected, but about half as good as it should have been. Ooh, that was a good way to put that. But anyway, I wanted to say real quick, it's amazing to me how effective the names are in House of the Dragon, despite me not being able to pronounce them all the time. She made fun of me for that. The name Dracarys.
Oh, that, the word, like when she says it, yeah.
That does stuff to me.
Oh yeah, like, when she's like Dracarys.
Yeah, like if it was any other name, would not work. The fact that it's Dracarys, I'm like, fuck. Or sorry, frick. Oops. That like, oh man, that pumps me. Original Human, how would you feel like Name of the Wind got an adaptation and Patrick Rothfuss played Kvothe? I don't think even Patrick Rothfuss would want to play Kvothe. I think I have a firm suspicion I would like an adaptation of King Killer more than the books. And that might sound strange to say. I don't love the books. I think they would be tweaked in ways in adaptation due to some of the common criticisms you see, as a lot of good adaptations are. I'm assuming it's a good adaptation. And it could just, because like King Killer, I love a lot of it. There's just a few small issues that really taint the flavor for me overall. And if you just fix those couple things, which you easily could do an adaptation, I think they would do the landscape and be adapted. And now I would enjoy. Don't have HBO, but we did watch Rings of Power and really liked it. Good, I'm glad. Hey, John Martin. You're who got me through the first few books of Wheel of Time. The read-along helped keep me focused on important parts and stay interested for what's to come. Finishing book now. Can't wait to get caught up. Dude, it's going to get really good soon from where you're at. I think I've settled on calling Knife of Dreams my favorite Wheel of Time book. I used to change it a lot, but Knife of Dreams, which I think is 11. Let me check that. Knife of Dreams. It is 11th book. Knew that off the top of my head. Can I get ones in chat out of respect? Anyway, I very much think Dresden Files should be animated. Oh, I disagree. I would much prefer a do I think it'll ever happen? Yes. Dresden Files, it's only a matter of time. I think there's some rights issues going on there, which is I talked on earlier, but it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. George R. R. Martin and Rothfuss should start writing instead of dealing with TV shows. I don't think they're spending nearly as much time dealing with these shows, at least Rothfuss, than you might think. Daniel Green, the actor who plays Theo in Rings of Power, is in the chat. How cool is that? Wait, where are you? I don't know if that's true. If it's true, awesome. Love you, maybe. I don't know. If not, now I'm nervous. I'm scared now. I hope everything is okay.
Wait, Theo? Really?
I don't. That's what they're saying. But I've also been told PewDiePie's in my chat before. I don't know if that's true.
I'm sure.
Theo's the one who plays the halfling, right?
No, he's the one that plays the son, I think.
Oh, right. I keep thinking that character's a halfling. Just I know he's not, but for something like they look like tiny people, and so I'm like, oh, it's a halfling too. And I feel like, yeah. Well, the fact that they're calling him Harfoot. Okay. Let's see. George R. R. Martin's in the chat. George, leave and go right. That's all I'd say to him. I'm sorry, it's true. Like if George is here, I'd be like, get out. Let's see. I did really like the actor behind Theo, and I don't think he's actually in chat. The actor behind Theo, I really liked the way he acted with the sword that was like corruption and everything, like the Morgoth and everything. That was actually like, I was like, okay.
The black shard thing, that was really cool. I'm interested about that.
How do you feel about having like a whole group of people where they're like, it's in your blood to be evil, and that being like a central
That's what I find so interesting is like they're taking of that. Like I really am not trying to be negative on the show from the beginning here, and I think that given the hoops and stuff that they've had to jump through, some of these stories I'm genuinely curious right now, and I don't want to judge them until I see how they play them out. But that's one of them where I'm like, oh my gosh, the idea that for like a century here, you know, we've got this people, let's follow their stories, the ones of them kind of being highly, you know, prejudiced against by the rest of the entire continent. So I don't know. I think it's a cool story that they could really have some great impact if it, you know, works out well.
I have no problem with it. My only fear, and the only way I wouldn't like it, is if they, whenever like there's like I can see the dumb Hollywood interpretation of this as like the worst version possible, and it would be like when the cursed blood is activated by something, they turn into like zombies, and then we have zombies in Lord of the. I don't think that'll happen.
No.
It would make me vomit if it did.
Yeah,
no, I would be like, no.
We cannot judge until we see how it plays out. That's why we leave this. That's why we're leaving it there. We're just like, oh, okay.
But you know, there's people in Hollywood who'd write that.
Yeah, and that's awful. And that would end up on Red Letter Media, and it would be great.
Tom Bombadil in the chat. Tom Bombi in the chat. Tolkien in the chat.
Get out.
All right. Okay. Let's see. How do you think they'll develop Galadriel and her powers? I have no idea. I really don't know, even if they will.
Yeah.
Because, like, to me, at least in my understanding from when I read the book a long time ago and don't remember it clearly, she should already be full powered.
She's definitely like highly powered, which is why I thought there were some scenes where they really went. Like one of my critiques, I'd say, was there were certain action scenes, like the sword lifting into the air one. Like, it was a bit like, and
I didn't like that shit when Legolas did it. I don't like it when she's doing it.
Well, and for me, those are scenes where instead of fighting via only sword, because we've seen her sword fighting already in the war and reference to that, that would be a good time to show what her powers are like right now.
Yeah.
Utilizing not just the little boat in the river.
Which is why I was expecting them to pull from. So there's clearly some elements in Rings of Power. I don't know if people agree or disagree with me on this. There's elements in Rings of Power that feel like they're straight out of lifted from Shadow of Mordor, the game. And I was expecting to see maybe some magical stuff that would be similar to some of the things we see there. Not necessarily the combat system in the game that you're like using as the character, but some of the magical representations of like the more powerful beings you encounter.
I see.
We're not really getting that.
A lot of people commenting about like, she doesn't have her powers until she has a ring. She still has basic elven powers, which we witnessed since childhood. And that's what I'm saying is the only time we really got to see her powers showcased as an elf, not as magical Galadriel, as an elf, was when she was a child making that paper boat.
Right.
And I thought that was a disappointment where we could have seen what her powers are now after a couple centuries.
Yeah, we're not expecting her to be Gandalf.
We're not expecting Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson, like Galadriel. Thank you. Like I was just saying, it would have been great to see more than paper boat magic.
Right, like the stages of development.
Yeah.
There's a parallel to Rand. Rand versus this. Galadriel goes through stages, I guess. I don't know. Whatever Kayla said, she's smarter than me. How do you think they'll develop? Oh, I just read that. Let's see. Thank you for also reading the chat. I appreciate you.
I like to keep on there. I'm keeping an eye on y'all.
I'm on my second year of my PhD, finished Memory of Light. Congratulations, Ryan! Yay! Can we get ones for Ryan in the chat? Oh. Let's see. What's up with Elrond's hair? His hair is feathered and lethal. I model my hair after that. What are you talking about? That hair is glorious. That man should be proud.
I'm going to refer to everything as lethal from now on.
Oh my gosh. Dan, when can you see in House of the Dragon them showing Daenerys and Jon as children? Oh God, I hope they don't do that. I don't want to see here's the children that be the also, I think we're way too far back in time to get that anytime soon. Rings of Power feels emotionally shallow to me, while I already feel attached to the characters in House of the Dragon. Yeah, that's basically the big differentiation between the two I was hitting on in my review of House of the Dragon today. House of the Dragon, in the same amount of runtime, even though it's 3 episodes versus 2 so far, the runtime I think about evens out, has made me care way more about the characters, which does not discount everything else. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting redundant. You know what? If you can't take what I'm saying at face value, and you interpret it the most extreme way to make you mad, just leave a comment, because that way you're at least engaging with the live stream. Who is the stranger? The worst thing they could do is make it Tom Bombadil. That would be horrible. That would make me genuinely sad. If they were like, it's Tommy B. The best thing they could do is make it a character who's an amalgamation of a lot of different characters to try and help tie in these stories together. Maybe make him an equivalent to the Blue Wizards. I'm not sure. Someone who's established in the lore vaguely, and then they kind of put a lot in there in the folds to try and help connective tissue throughout this age. The hair is literally the only complaint I have about Rings of Power. I want my long hair god. Oh wait, I want my long hair god. It is pretty long. Like his hair is longer than mine. I don't know. I'm not of the opinion that elves need to have like these long flowing locks. I know that might be against a lot of what's in the books, but to me, it's always looked a little silly. So I'm okay with them tweaking that. I'm okay. I'm a person. I got my personal preferences. Elrond from Rings of Power looks like Steve from Stranger Things. That's funny because it's true. I'm not denying that. Isn't the stranger Gandalf? I don't think he is, and I'm really gonna be upset. I'm gonna be upset if it is. It shouldn't be, right?
What?
The stranger shouldn't be Gandalf.
No,
that would make no sense.
Third age, I'm pretty sure.
I thought he shows up in the transitional period between second and third.
I just said like third age.
Yeah, third age. So okay.
I'm fairly certain.
Okay. Okay, but here's the thing: who's got better hair, Steve or El? I'm gonna put that as a poll. Hold up. Who's got better hair? Who's got better hair? I actually want to know what people think. Steve, Stranger Things. Hold up. We're gonna vote. Oh, this is why you all come. There's a D at the end of Elrond, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why my head was like, it's Elrond. You laughed a little too hard at that.
I don't know. I started thinking it sounded like Elon. That's devolved to Elon.
Oh God, now I'm imagining Elon Musk as like made up like an elf, and it's horrible. Everything about it's terrible.
That's where my brain went to, and that's why I was laughing a little harder.
He comes into the council. He's like, I could build a rocket. I could shoot the ring in the Mordor on a rocket.
You don't need no eagles. We'll take the Elon rocket.
Thing is, yeah, he misses and just delivers it to Saruman. All right. Sorry, we got distracted. Oh, Steve is winning by. Oh no, he's the lead is shrinking. Elrond could close the gap. Oh no, it grew again for Steve. And I agree. Steve has better hair. He definitely has better hair. Thank you all for voting. Wow, almost 400 you already voted. We're a passionate hair crowd. I really like that. Just let everyone know Galadriel trained with Melaine the Maya, so she's supposed to have super juicy power before she gets the ring. Your phrasing of super juicy.
Never want to hear it again.
I love it. Say it all the time. Okay. Morgoth was the most powerful being, and Arnda still fought in armor, hammer, and shield. Dwarves are better than stupid incest dragon a-holes. I like Kel's phrasing. Yeah, I don't agree with the argument some people say where Galadriel shouldn't be wearing armor. That's like Achilles and Troy. He's like, I could still get hurt, so I'm gonna wear armor. Like I totally think characters should be wearing armor. That's not one of the criticisms I've agreed with. Throwing armor and sword on Galadriel makes her seem weaker. No, I disagree. Galadriel walked in Dol Guldur barefoot and a nightgown and beat. Yeah, but she was at her most powerful at that point. She's not at that level yet, at least in this interpretation or in the book canon's just left my head. The Hobbit movies, I wouldn't call it a nightgown. It's a little bit nicer than a night. I agree, it's essentially a nightgown, but it's a little nice. It's got like sparkles. Why do scriptwriters keep making this mistake with female characters? I don't think it's a mistake. I just disagree with your argument fundamentally there. But I see where you're coming from, and I respect you as an individual. I hope you're having a happy, healthy day. How hard is that, internet? How hard is that? Okay. There's Keithies for you. Okay. Galadriel also studied under, she's been alive for like 5 billion years, guys. She studied a lot. I get it. She's smarter than me. You're trying to tell me Galadriel's smarter than me. That's not news. I knew that. All right, we're ending the poll. Steve won handily. I really only liked the dwarves. I like some of the elves and some of the humans too, but I agree some of the humans, some of the elves, not so much. The okay. Use the music they use for their parts in Seeing Moria. Yeah, Seeing Moria was so cool. The rest feel like generic fantasy. I also disliked the knife ear part. Okay, but here's the thing. Isn't Lord of the Rings supposed to feel like generic fantasy? It's the roots that all fantasy we know of today grew from. So to me, you're doing it a bit wrong if it doesn't feel entirely like generic fantasy. I don't know. I don't know. Danielle Galadriel's smarter than you just because she studied a lot. That's what she should know. I think she's also just smarter than me. Kayla's also a lot smarter than me.
No.
That was, yeah. Let's see. I doubt we're getting strict fidelity to the ages. As long as Gandalf survives in the past of Lord of the Rings, no one will care. I think I don't know. That would be such a big. I wouldn't like that. I can't justify it beyond just I wouldn't like that, and I don't need to. Fight me. I do think. Hear me out. Daemon Targaryen, he would kill Galadriel from Rings of Power as of right now because he has a dragon. And I think that's fair. If he didn't have the dragon, he'd lose. But with a dragon, you win. Do you
starting beef here?
You disagree?
I don't know. No,
okay.
I honestly don't know.
Who wins, Daemon with his dragon or Galadriel? Let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe. Everyone who disagrees with you, they're a bad person, and you should be personally upset and angry with them. By the way, all right. Who would win in a staring competition, Sauron or Griffith? Griffith's still just okay. Spoilers. Sauron. Sauron's a demigod, so Sauron. Demigod versus demon. Demigod wins. Are you hopeful that the One Piece adaptation is going to be good? That's the one I'm the most not sure on of anything that's being adapted right now. Stash looks great. I'm gonna give you a stash rub for that. You ready? Thank you. That was your stash rub. If stripped of its Tolkien veneer, does the story stand on its own 2 feet? It's too soon to tell, man. It's 2 episodes. I don't know what you want from me. Damon. Oh, a couple Galadriel. Okay. That's interesting. Okay.
Danger noodle.
Generic fantasy is to me an unfair criticism, considering a big reason the fantasy genre, due to Tolkien. Which I do want to say, you hear it said all the time that Tolkien invented this type of fantasy. Even he would disagree with that. He pulled from stories that take place in entirely fantastical worlds populated by fantasy creatures. He solidified it. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely, he solidified what the genre was, and it wasn't truly a thing until he did that. But I don't think he created something as entirely new as sometimes he's given credit for. That's my personal take there, because he took, I think it's called like The Princess and the Goblin is one of the ones he took from, and a few others. My question was, Galadriel's plan to swim all the way back to me. That was something that drove me nuts too. I was like, is she Michael Phelps? How can she do that? And that's something I didn't bring up in my review. The only reason I didn't bring it up was I knew it was so nitpicky, and there was going to be some Tolkienite who was like, oh, she actually is buoyant, so therefore she's not that going to tire her. But like, if she didn't come across the people in the boat, I'm not saying she couldn't do it. I'm just saying that's a hell of a thing to commit to. Homegirl's in the water, just going. I'm
just imagining all the next episodes until season 2 are just shots of Galadriel swimming, and we see nothing else until season 2.
It's
Check
just
in later.
All these people developing plot lines, and then it's just her going.
Everyone thinks, no, this is going to be the episode where it happens, and it never does.
She sees land, gets to it. It's just a small island, walks to the other side, continues swimming.
Everyone's like, she reached Numenor? And then they're like, no.
It's just like, no, she reaches Westeros. It's actually a crossover.
Got him.
You guys realize you can have fun with these things, and now everything's so serious. It's a show. Let's have fun. Let's just be fun. I forgot that. Okay, that's explaining a lot of what's happening right now.
What?
Nothing. I'm just feeling something, and I was like, oh, okay. Forgot that we did that. Okay. How confident are you about the quality of the next season of Wheel of Time? Very iffy. I don't know. I need to see trailers and stuff like that. Elves never tire of running. I again, Ryan, I think she could do it. Like, I'm not saying she couldn't make the swim. I'm just saying it's an amazing thing to sign up for. It's crazy to be like, all right, this is my next 2 months. Or even, I'll just say 2 weeks even. I don't know.
That's the next poll. How long do you think it will take Galadriel to swim back to Middle Earth?
You know what? I'll even give the people who support her doing it, maybe she could swim forever. Because I think genuinely elves might be buoyant. Like after what Legolas did off the Ellie font, possibly. I'm not gonna say they're not buoyant, but like it's still a workout, and she better show up cut. Like I want cut Galadriel after that. Oh God. Sorry, a fan of the Third World from. Oh, hey, congratulations. Wish I could donate more, dude. No, you're absolutely fine. Never donate beyond your means. Do you think people complaining about the colors of actors even before the release of Ring of Power are gay? Yeah, I think that's just blatantly racist. I think it is. If you get upset in a world where dragons exist because you can't believe black people exist, you're either overtly or subconsciously racist. You need to reevaluate shit going on with you, because to me that's absolutely insane. And if you value keeping a cast all white over inclusivity, that's messed up, and I don't agree with that. I think that's weird. That's my personal take on it. Who wins, Galadriel swimming or Gendry rowing? I'm gonna say Galadriel swimming. I'm gonna go with the swimming. I think she's a great swimmer.
Yep.
I will say her form when she started swimming was fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
yes, yeah. I don't really pay attention to that, so I can't. I gotta think.
I actually, because I was on the swim team, and I noted great form. Okay. Do you think that if Game of Thrones was to be readapted or refinished, they could launch off from a prior season with the same cat? No way that would ever happen. Or would it be a completely new? It'd have to be a completely new adaptation. Not that I'd want that. I just think due to rights and all kinds of issues around that, that could not happen. That's just my interpretation. That Galadriel swimming, ginger rowing thing that geeked me. Oh my God. Is there a sci-fi equivalent of something solidifying the genre? Well, that's a really interesting question, because the compass of sci-fi used to take up what we think of as fantasy now too. So fantasy branched off from there, and science fiction, I mean, I don't want to step on any toes here. There are stories within certain religious texts that if you don't believe in them and you take them as fiction, which I'm not trying to offend anybody, but if you do, they are the first sci-fi stories. But in terms of like what Tolkien did, that's kind of hard to exactly pin down. I would say Frankenstein is as close as you're going to get, especially for like the more horrific side of science fiction. But I mean, it's a much more slow developing. I mean, science fiction throughout its entire history is so guilty of groupthink, where a lot of ideas will come from various people at almost the exact same time, which actually happens in real world science too. So that's really fun. And so no, the answer is I don't think there is as direct an example for science fiction, but that's a really great question. Thank you for that question. Saying it this way makes this swimming thing really funny. It is funny. Like I started laughing when I saw that. I was like, this is a funny choice. And if the writers came out and were like, we were going for a joke there, I would 100% respect that and be like, that's a great choice. Just finished Wheel of Time due to your channel. I have started reading more due to your channel. Thank you. Appreciate all you do. Give me all the Aiel in season 2. Right? And they set a high bar for Aiel action. So they better live up to that bar. Otherwise, I'm going to dump on that too. Good Lord. Oh man, it just jumped ahead. Seen the preview for episode 3 yet? No, I didn't. I didn't want to. So, because I don't want to spoil it. So I want to go in blind. So I actually purposefully skipped it. Had you read any of George R. R. Martin's previous Song of Ice and Fireworks? No, but I really want to, and I've heard Thousand Worlds is good. So that's actually on my TBR. I don't know if I'll do a review for it though. Good job with all the recent work, Daniel. Thank you. You should definitely try the Robot series by Isaac Asimov when you have the sci-fi. I think I have an iRobot review on the channel, I thought. Or did I take that one down? Do you think House of the Dragon has more mass market has more mass market, being a darker and character-based story appeal compared to Rings of Power, and that's why it's achieving more praise. That Ring of Power is making it harder. I don't want to say mass market. I don't think that's the term that applies here, and that's what I'm struggling with your comment. It's just what's popular. And I also genuinely think House of Dragons is so far in its early episodes a better execution of putting in hooks to the audience. And so I don't think it's mass market. I think it's intent and execution. Have you read Speaker of the Dead? No. What are the odds on Halbrand being Theo's dad? He gives off bad dad energy. Kayla?
I mean, story-wise, that could be what they're trying to do there.
I don't think that's going to come up.
Theo's dad being missing and being forced out of his home, and him being saying that I was forced to leave my home.
No, I just don't think we're going to get that answer, period. Because it hasn't been brought up. You know what I mean? Like they re-emphasize stuff when you're going to get an answer. From a writing standpoint, they haven't re-emphasized it.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't gotten much setup to that guy at all. So
yeah, he's just the dick.
Yeah.
Sorry, YouTube. He's the penis. Is that better? Are you going to demonetize me, YouTube? Please don't. It's a male sex organ and nothing more. All right. It's tough to have a definitive sci-fi since we're always learning about more science, right? Fantasy is set firmly in the past. No, a lot of fantasy is now. A lot of fantasy is in the future. I disagree with that. I almost just said Star Wars is the future. And I know all the comments were going to be a galaxy a long time, but you know what I mean? Like tech-wise, it can be the future. In sci-fantasy, obviously, is something that's been in all the time spots. Okay, I think I've caught up with the super chats, so I can get to the normal chats now. Daniel made me start reading again. Thank you. Oh, I'm glad. I love you. I hope you're doing well. Halbrand is doubt that. That's called sci-fantasy. Well, no, there is fantasy set in the future, I think. Alternate tech futures, I'll say. I know it's a total rumor, but if Elizabeth Olsen, okay. So the Elizabeth Olsen rumor for House of the Dragon is complete BS. It was started on a website that's just known for taking big actor names and saying they're going to be in whatever big show it is. That is a lie. Sorry, William Wallace. I don't mean to snuff your hype, but that is just purely, I tracked it down, traced it. It's just from a site that gets clicks through clickbaiting. It's not real. Sorry about that. Hey, Goblin Lord, morning. It's afternoon for me. I don't know where you are in the world. Just wanted to say that it's a wonderful time to be a fantasy buff. Yeah, it is. With all the good fiction being adapted one after the other. Yeah, it is. It really is. As a fantasy fan, I think we're all well fed, at least with House of the Dragon. I mean, everyone seems to be in consensus there. Wheel of Time, cough, not in the past. True, that's future. And that's, sorry, lore spoiler for Wheel of Time. That is future Earth. And I argue Wheel of Time is science fiction. If you look into the lore, Wheel of Time is science fiction. Fight me. Wheel of Time is sci-fi to its core, through and through, science fiction all day. What do I want to see in Rings of Power? So this is the second age. This is Big Daddy magic time. I want really different feeling, grandiose magic displays and big beasts. And I know that's not like specific story stuff, but hey, as I said earlier, I pay attention to VFX stuff like that a lot more than people, it seems, in terms of like what I favor in a show. And I want, like what House of the Dragon gave us with one of the best scenes with a dragon murdering an army ever. I want that cranked up even higher. Give me a Balrog fighting a dragon. Do it. Give it to me. I don't care how you justify it. How could you be that mad at Rings of Power? And I'm not saying this will make a good Tolkien show if they did this, but I think it would at least become a good popcorn experience if they just started taking the biggest, baddest creatures available and throwing them at each other. I wouldn't praise it on like a fantasy fan Tolkien level. Don't get me wrong. But in terms of like a nerd being like, dope, that would be kind of cool. Like if we just took the biggest things and smashed them together, there'd be some primal animal part of me that'd be like, nice. I'd hate it, but I'd like it. Jackson would never have non-canon female warriors twice, or mischaracterize people like Faramir. It was canon and blessed. It's always funny to me when people say the Jackson trilogy. I got the sarcasm in your comment because it's always funny when people categorize like Jackson's trilogy as the most faithful adaptations ever. No, they are not. There are whole scenes that do not exist in the books, and one of them is a really bad lore-breaking scene with the Frodo having a standoff with the Fell Beast with the Wraith on his back and showing him the ring. That breaks so many things and is a horrible inclusion that was not in the books. And I'm not criticizing. I think the Lord of the Rings movies are incredible. Don't get me wrong, but like that's a problem that shouldn't have been there. Daniel wants Lord of the Rings kaiju fight. Everyone wants that a little bit. Kayla, would you be mad if you just got big things fighting? She went. So Peter Jackson, yes, now I'm saying, yes, that's what I'm saying. Peter Jackson movies bad now. All the internet hates them. They're terrible. Shouldn't good magic on screen be more like just weird finger wrangling with VFX? No, I feel okay. This is a good point, and I want to talk about this because it's something I see brought up where it's like, what else could you do with magic, right? Because I complained about the weaving in Wheel of Time a lot, saying it like they could have done a better visualization of it, and I maintain that for Rings of Power too. I feel like a lot of VFX artists and a lot of studios are afraid of really experimenting. And I think you could communicate a great magic experience 30% visually, 70% with the audio and stuff like that. Also, it doesn't have to be tenderly wispy stuff. You could do folds and twists in the actual like shot, all kinds of really interesting things that go above and beyond just like the like often marvelish pew pow blah, portal thing you get from Doctor Strange. And in fact, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, I did not like that movie that much, but there was a great magic fight in it that had a really different interpretation of what a magic fight could be in terms of like all kinds of disorienting stuff. And that's what I'd like to see. Not that style exactly, but in terms of experimentation, that's what I'd want to see Rings of Power do more. Something that's not Marvel-y, that's not Wheel of Timey, and just feels different. Like VFX can essentially do unlimited things. You don't need to just focus on Fireball. And that's my take on that. That's my Arcane was incredible in that sense. I think so. Yeah, there's a lot of atmospheric work done in Arcane for the technology, magic-y stuff that feels very well accomplishing. Thank you for the super chat. Sorry, your message was redacted. Arcane Room, yeah, there we go. The music fight. I was thinking about that, but also the way things slowed down and how like through the actual audio, you got a lot of like information of like what was happening and why. I don't know. Original Human. Who would win in a fight, Galadriel or the pug from House of the Dragon episode 3? I think I'm gonna go Galadriel on this one. Whoa, does the pug have a dragon? That's a very important question here. Let me see. Multiverse of Madness is the best MCU movie for me. It's not even close. An actual director got to direct. Zombie Strange making. I agree that it had definitely the most directorial flair, but it was frustrating to me because I really love that director. I'm a very big fan of Evil Dead, and it feels like we got a diet version of it instead of the full experience, which is not the best. Like if you're going to go full out, grab a director, go nuts, let him do it. And I feel like Marvel always kind of cuts out their legs a little bit. Like I really like Taika Waititi's Marvel movies, except I haven't seen his most recent one, or I guess I should say his one Marvel movie then. But it's not like a full-on Jojo Rabbit level Taika Waititi experience because they have to still fit in that formula. And so I get that. How many books would you say you read on average a year? I have no idea. Pug gets to ride a bell. I think the pug dies immediately then. I think that's actually the answer there. So Galadriel. Are you going to continue with your breakdown of all the Wheel of Time books? No, I am avoiding the Wheel of Time fandom like the plague right now due to just how terribly toxic that's become. Will House of the Dragon surpass Game of Thrones? That's a really layered, difficult question to answer. In terms of like taking in, will it overall be better? No clue. For personal individual fans, possibly. I just don't believe in objectivism of art. I just don't believe you can answer questions like that objectively. For me personally, possibly. I'm not going to rule it out. Let's see. Let's see. Favorite House of the Dragon episode so far? Still episode 2. Mainly because of how much it got me to just be invested in all the characters. Though my favorite individual character study for the show so far is episode 3, everything that happened with the king. You got to feel with him so much in that episode. It was truly brilliant. I loved that. You have to admit, the House of the Dragons has managed to pull in the fans who were hurt from season 8, and it's pretty impressive. Yeah, way more than I thought they'd be able to. I thought it would be a real challenge for them, but they've just scooped up what feels like a majority of the Game of Thrones fan base like that, and I'm really happy to see that. Like we as fans really need a universally praised season of television, and I feel like honestly, people keep asking me what show am I most confident will be great when it drops of all the adaptations we're getting. It's one that's super early on, but if there is one that has a chance of just being great as it lands, to me it's Murderbot, which I think Mary Robinette Kowal has confirmed. No, that's not Mary Robinette Kowal, that's Martha Wells. I think Martha Wells has confirmed is happening, and oh my lord, Murderbot is so incredible. And I think it really could just take off with a wider audience and be appreciated. Anyway, that's another thing. Who are y'all's favorite performances from specifically House of the Dragon? We've talked a lot about Rings of Power. Favorite performance from House of the Dragon, because it's actually the main character I liked the least at first. The king has now become my favorite. And the second is a very close second with Rhaenyra, or what's the actress's name?
I don't know.
Alison Moorcock. Can you look it up? Thank you. She's a solid second, might even pass him again. And then Matt Smith, who's so good at being like that charismatically evil guy. You're like, oh, you're the worst, but I like you.
Emma Darcy?
No, that's the one who's taking over after the time skip.
Okay, so before.
I think it's Alison Moorcock, but I could be. Someone's gonna have told me.
Yeah, Alison Moorcock. Or Millie. Yeah,
Millie Moorcock. Sorry.
Millie Alcock.
Millie Alcock. I was close. Millie Alcock. Thank you. Valerian wig versus Daniel's mustache. This is all that matters. Kayla, do you like my mustache?
Yeah.
That was not believable, even a little. Shyster. I'm kidding. Let's see. How did you like the 11th episode of Sam? We haven't watched the new episodes of Sandman yet.
No, we haven't.
We need to watch. We did just catch up on the rehearsal, and that was great. Kayla and I both, by the end of it, we were just looking at each other like, is our life part of the rehearsal now? Yeah. Like, oh my God.
Were we just rehearsing? Like, what's going on with his life?
Oh my Lord. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this live stream there. It's been an hour, and I really have enjoyed this. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you, everyone, for showing on up and geeking out with me a little bit. This actually wasn't as contentious as I thought. I feel like I came in expecting this to be more contentious than it was, and so I came across too aggressive, and I'm sorry if that's the case. But I will leave this one up and live for you all. People always ask me to do that. It might hurt the channel. But I'm going to do that, and I'm going to leave it live, and y'all can enjoy and have a good time with my thoughts, and have a beautiful one. Kayla, would you like to say bye?
Bye, everyone. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you. Bye.